2 decades ago in Washington state, a father and his child were walking in the woods near their cabin. The father felt they were being watched. In the middle of the night, he woke his son to hide when Augustine and his armed henchmen appeared. Augustine threw 2 dice, got snake eyes, and this way, he would determine the fate of the two. The boy appeared and distracted Augustine long enough for his father to strike back. The father, however, urged his son to flee. The boy escaped, hearing the gunshot that killed his father, as the villains burned the cabin. He took the name Snake Eyes and carried his anger with him for years. Present day, Snake Eyes takes part in an underground brawl against a formidable opponent. Despite initial setbacks, Snake Eyes outwits his opponent, using a chain to restrain him before the sledgehammer crashes. The enemy falls, exhausted. After the fight, Kenta approaches Snake Eyes, claiming he can find his father's killer, an obsession Snake Eyes has harbored for years. Snake Eyes reluctantly accepts Kenta's job offer and spends a month working at a fish factory in Los Angeles, alongside a young man named Tommy Arashikage. However, the factory is actually a front for the Yakuza, controlled by Kenta. When Kenta's men seize Tommy and accuse him of spying for his clan, Snake Eyes is handed a gun and ordered to execute him. Instead, Snake Eyes decides to help Tommy fight off his captors and escape. They go to a boat, but Snake Eyes is knocked unconscious during the escape. Tommy reveals that he and Kenta are cousins who vied for leadership of the Arashikage clan, which led to Kenta's murderous attempt on Tommy's life. Knowing that Kenta will target Snake Eyes if he returns to the States, Tommy brings him to Tokyo and introduces him to the Arashikage clan as a new member. Upon arrival, Snake Eyes meets the clan's advisor, Akiko, and the current leader, Tommy's grandmother, Sen. To become a full-fledged clan member, Snake Eyes must complete 3 challenges. Despite being taken in by the Arashikage clan, Akiko remains skeptical of Snake Eyes due to his lack of records in America and his years off the grid. In the first challenge, Snake Eyes faces instructors Hardmaster and Softmaster. He takes a bowl of water from Hardmaster's hands without spilling his own. After 3 unsuccessful attempts using brute force, Snake Eyes remembers his father's advice to let go of his ego and simply asks Hardmaster to swap bowls, thus passing the challenge. During his downtime, Snake Eyes secretly meets with Kenta, who still uses him as a mole to infiltrate the Arashikage clan and obtain the Jewel of the Sun artifact. In exchange, Kenta promises to reveal the whereabouts of Augustine. Later, Snake Eyes engages in a duel with Akiko, with both probing each other's motives and secrets, but neither yielding. The Blind Master releases a radiant blue light that leads Snake Eyes to the site of his father's murder. Confronted by his father's specter, Snake Eyes expresses remorse for his inability to save him and the belief that he caused his father's death. The Arashikage clan discovers Kenta's presence in the city and pursues him. They confront his henchmen and engage in a fierce battle, eventually uncovering a cache of weapons supplied to Kenta by the terrorist organization known as Cobra. With this valuable intel, Akiko contacts their agent, Scarlett O'Hara, a G.I. Joe agent. After defeating several of Kenta's henchmen sent her way, which Snake Eyes, Tommy, and Akiko observe through her phone camera, Akiko informs Scarlett of Kenta's connection to Cobra. Scarlett has been tracking a high-ranking Cobra agent, the Baroness, who is wanted for numerous acts of terrorism. Snake Eyes later meets Kenta, and the Baroness introduces herself to him. She presents a video of Augustine, who is being held captive. Kenta reminds Snake Eyes about their deal and tells him to keep his promise if he wants to eliminate Augustine himself. Snake Eyes attempt to sneak into the temple guarding the Jewel of the Sun, but narrowly escapes detection, retreating to his room before Akiko can catch him. They have a heart-to-heart conversation, with Akiko offering genuine advice. In the third and final challenge, Snake Eyes enters a pit containing 3 enormous anacondas. They surround him, and he recalls Akiko's words to open his heart. Initially, it seems to work, but Snake Eyes chuckles, provoking the anacondas to attack him. He is pulled out just in time and brings Sen and the Masters along with Tommy and Akiko. Snake Eyes confesses his impure heart and vengeful motives to Sen. Blind Master confirms his sincerity, and Sen states that his honesty spares his life. But he cannot join the Arashikage clan. Snake Eyes prepares to leave, bidding farewell to Tommy, and forming a blood pact by cutting their hands with the sword Tommy gifted him. That night, Snake Eyes observes Tommy and Akiko accessing the jewel, using the cleaned blood from the blade to enter the temple. As Snake Eyes seizes the jewel, Akiko spots him and reveals that she got her scar from the last man she mistakenly trusted. She tries to apprehend Snake Eyes, and when Tommy discovers the situation, he follows suit. However, Snake Eyes manages to escape the compound. Later, Snake Eyes meets Kenta, the Baroness, and their henchmen at the agreed-upon location. He hands them the jewel, and Kenta demonstrates its power by incinerating one of his men. They then allow Snake Eyes to confront Augustin. He gives Augustin the loaded dice that Kenta provided, which always land on Snake Eyes. Before he can kill Augustin, Snake Eyes demands to know why he murdered his father. Augustin reveals that he used to work for Cobra and they ordered the hit, realizing that Cobra is the true enemy. Snake Eyes lets Augustin go and sets out to stop Kenta. On the way to the Arashikage, Snake Eyes finds himself chased by Tommy and Akiko, who are both riding motorcycles. He evades them but proves his loyalty when Kenta's henchmen attack. After defeating them, Akiko returns, and Snake Eyes and Tommy hijack a car to reach the compound. Kenta and his crew arrive, attacking the Arashikage members. When Baroness tries to secure the jewel, Kenta betrays her, intending to use it against Cobra. Snake Eyes, Tommy, Akiko, Scarlet, and the Masters join forces to defend the clan's home. Baroness forms a temporary alliance with Scarlet to confront Kenta. After eliminating most of his henchmen, the heroes and Baroness face Kenta and his remaining men. Scarlet and Baroness shoot the henchmen, while Kenta uses the jewel to defend himself. Baroness flees when an opportunity arises. A struggle follows, with Snake Eyes and Tommy seizing the jewel from Kenta. Tommy almost kills Kenta with it, but Kenta escapes. Snake Eyes chase him and end up near the Anaconda pit. Using a chain, Snake Eyes pulls Kenta into the hole and frees the anacondas. Kenta decapitates one of the snakes, but another seizes and devours him. Still clinging to the chain, Snake Eyes almost suffers the same fate. But when he surrenders his ego, the anaconda bites the chain off and releases him. Sen gathers the heroes and praises them for saving the Arashikage, but declares that Tommy cannot succeed her as the leader because he misused the jewel. Angered, Tommy exiles, blaming Snake Eyes and vowing to kill him if they ever meet again. Snake Eyes settles into a new home and suggests to Akiko that they search for Tommy. Scarlet arrives with files from her commanding officer, revealing that Snake Eyes' father was a Joe who provided intel about Cobra, saving thousands of lives. This made him a target for Cobra, and his father kept them so far off the grid that there is no official record of Snake Eyes' previous life or real name. Snake Eyes receives his signature armor and mask and mounts a motorcycle to pursue Tommy. Meanwhile, Tommy is on a plane heading to an unknown destination. The flight attendant, revealed to be Baroness, offers him a chance to work with Cobra. He agrees and adopts a new name, Storm Shadow.